Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm hopefully there may be some of you here. I'm just going to wait a few moments. I have had technical issues, but I'll explain that in a moment. Right, okay, so just waiting a couple of more seconds. Right. Lovely. Okay, so this evening I'm going to be talking about, and hopefully you can hear me okay, about scrying, which is something I don't tend to do because it's fortune telling in essence. So and I also do have a crystal ball. I'm just going to make sure everything down here is okay. Make sure that no, hi Emily, no, you haven't missed anything. It is me that's late tonight. I'm late tonight because of technical issues. Everything that's gone wrong has gone wrong. My computer decided it was a really good time to reboot itself, do the updates and all the rest of it just before I decided to go live, and I couldn't stop it. So that's why I'm running late this evening, so I'm about 10-15 minutes late. So no, Emily, you haven't missed anything at all. So I'm talking about scrying. I don't know if you know anything about it, if you know if you've had a go or not had a go or anything like that. Like I say, it's not something that I do a lot of, and I don't, theoretically it is for the purpose of looking into the future. So if we have a look at plays, let's go and have a look at Shakespearean plays, and we're often and Greek tragedies, you'll often have the lady who is the oracle, and she is a seer or a scryer because she's looking into a reflective pool of water. And yes, anything that is reflective you can look into. I have actually seen someone who has done water readings, and unfortunately the person who did do water readings no longer does water readings that I know of. So but it's I can't say that nobody can do it. You can do water readings, and the way that they did the water readings is that you put your hands into a bowl of water. So I originally called this psychometry for that very reason, scrying and psychometry. So I wanted to cover the two, and I kind of thought about it and I thought slightly different. So psychometry is where you take something of somebody else's. Okay, so it may be a case of, you know, I've got a ring here. I don't know if you can see it, there's a ring. Take the ring, you hold the ring, and you get what you want. However, with scrying, it's very much, here's the crystal ball. Yes, you didn't think I had one, did you? But there we go, I have a crystal ball. And it is, and I've also got a little stand for it. It's very, very little. So it's a case of, let's have a look into the crystal ball and see what we can see. So if I hold it here, for instance, I don't know if you can see. So what I'll be looking into is the reflection and looking down further. Now I did have, while my computer was updating itself and me trying to be calm and collected and not to rush at 100 miles an hour and go, why is my computer doing this? I decided to have a quick look, and I did get to see some faces. A couple of faces I thought I knew and a couple of faces that I didn't know, so it could be members of your family. But scrying is very much about looking to see what's going to happen in the future. So maybe these faces that I don't know are people that I'm going to meet in the future. And very much different. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate just to jot them down into the comments, and I will have a look at them. That'd be fantastic. Okay, so the scrying that I tend to, well, you can also use a mirror. You can use water, mirror, anything that's reflective, really, to be honest. Crystal balls I always find a little bit disconcerting, because obviously you're getting a reflection and upside downness. Now when I take my glasses off, I can see a lot better into the crystal ball. Actually, when I have my glasses on, it's better for me, because everything else in this, because I'm short-sighted, is blurred. Whereas if it's sharp, I'm going to be concentrating on those items. So I prefer it to be kind of quite blurry, and then just allow to see what comes through. Is it a case of looking past the item? Yes, it is. So again, it's very much using that idea of the 3D pictures. Do you remember those of the late 80s and 90s that were absolutely everywhere and drove you a little bit potty and cross-eyed? So it's a little bit like that, really. Now the reason why I wanted to put in psychometry is is that you're taking that energy from somebody else. Okay, so psychometry, you're taking the energy from a ring or from a set of keys, and you're linking in that way. Scrying, you're not. Okay, so the other person doesn't hold the crystal ball, the other person doesn't really. So the water reading that I saw was very much on a psychometry level rather than on a scrying level. Okay, because as soon as they put the hands into the water, it is their energy. It is not a generalized thing, it's about their energy. I was actually quite amazed at how many hands he allowed into the water, because I thought, you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. And it was also quite amazing how cloudy the water went. So if you are doing psychometry, okay, so again, it's much more on a psychic level. You're taking that energy and then you link in on a mediumship level. But you'll be I was quite amazed that, after two sets of hands that had gone in this bowl, and it was a clear water bowl, and that they put the hands into the water. I don't know if it was hot or cold. I guess it was room temperature. So they put the hands in for a moment or two, took them out, shook out their hands and everything, and went away. But it was quite amazing that he allowed so many hands to go in before a new set of water was given to him, if you like, or actually he changed the water. Because for me, I'd be sitting there kind of going, oh, I'm reading too many sets of hands. So fair play to him, absolute fair play. Again, that takes practice, and it's again something that I don't do. Maybe I should do, and start doing water readings. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? But again, a lot of churches and centres, they possibly would do it as a special, not part of a service. Okay, so again, just to reiterate, scrying is looking into a reflective surface. So if I was looking into the water without the hands going in, that's scrying. With the hands going in, that's psychometry in my head. Okay, so that's my perception of it. Okay, so I thought I would try to have a go and see, but I'm just seeing if I can lift this up in any way so that you can see. I may be able to tilt. I'm just going to tilt down the camera, so hopefully you can kind of see the crystal. If I move that to there, there we go. All right. So there's the crystal ball. So I'm not touching it. I don't want to touch touch it, I'm touching the base. The base is slightly curved, so it holds the ball in there. And so, have I got any questions? No, I haven't, not yet. Okay, so I'm just going to have a look at that. Oh, you know, big babies and all that. Right, okay, so such a flattering look. You have to laugh, you do have to laugh. Okay. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm looking directly down into the crystal ball. Sorry that you can't really see this, but I'm looking this way. I'm looking directly down into the crystal ball. Okay. Yes, I have got it on some toweling, absolutely. So what I'm going to try to see is what I can see. I'm going to try without my glasses first of all, and just see what crops up. Now, if you think about the Shakespearean plays, the Greek tragedies, and all the rest of it, it's normally somebody asking a question. Oh, okay. So here I can kind of see a young man. It's not somebody who I recognise. Quite chiseled features, dark hair, shoulders quite high. So I know that he was quite a tense young man as well. I don't want to put him into his 40s. I want to put him earlier than that, 20s and 30s. And not very tall either. Okay, so that's who's cropping through. He's just got quite a sharp nose as well, and a bit of a beard, I have to say. That stubbly beardy thing that men seem to have these days, where they won't shave for 5 days and then shave. It's kind of not a beard and not stubble either, so it's that kind of a look. Okay. Okay. So as so he's becoming a little bit more softer, and there's actually another man there, and I have to say, for me, he's of a darker skin tone than of myself as well. Alright, so that's what I'm kind of getting to see. Something about distance as well, sorry, just push that back. So it's about distance as well. Alright, so that's there's something there about distance won't be a problem, was what I was getting. So that's basically it. So it's looking directly into the ball. When it comes to, if we have a think about the images that we get to see with scrying, we sometimes also get to see ways of different types of reading. So I'm going to just slightly move away from scrying and also just talk about some readings as well. So other ways of doing readings other than actually taking something of somebody else's, so you can actually do straw readings. It is again slightly like psychometry. Psychometry is fun, actually, in a way of the versatility of it, because you don't have to stick to the norms. Now the norms is, let me take your ring, let me take your watch, your keys, your necklace, blah blah blah. Okay, now you can also do photo readings. I've done photo readings, that's quite fun. Psychometry, a lot of people, what they tend to do is to place a lot of objects onto it, especially for demonstration. And I have done this as a demonstration, and yeah, I did enjoy it. So people just place their items onto a tray, whether it be a photograph or whatever. It could be a wallet, it could be a phone, it could be anything really, something that they've had about their person. That gets covered with a cloth, towel, whatever. The tray comes out. So for this particular demonstration, I didn't get to see what was there, and then the cloth gets taken back, pulled back, and then you have the item. You pick an item, and then that's when you do the reading. So yeah, so that is quite fun. Now with psychometry, another way to do a reading is holding a black card in between your hands, and you hold it there for a minute or two. It doesn't have to be long at all, and then you hand over the card to the reader. So that's another way of doing a reading. Another way of doing a reading is that you can use sand. And so you have a sand tray, literally a little tray. Okay, so simple. So you get your child's play sand, so it's clean, not straight from the beach. I wouldn't recommend that, really wouldn't, because don't forget you have sand hoppers and sand fleas and all kind of creature crawlies, and don't forget about the plastic and all the rest of it. So you know, go down to your sand store or whatever, get some sand, and DIY store even, get a little bit of sand, put that onto a tray. Obviously wait till it's dry, and then someone can come along and either make a pattern, put their hand into the sand, do whatever they want onto the sand, and then the reader doesn't watch who it is. Okay, that's quite important. I did have a go at this in Development Circle, and again it was fun to do. Now you see, for me, I was always taught that when you're working and learning about spirit, it is about having fun and playing games. Now I'm saying this quite seriously, because today, I have to remember this is about 20 years ago. Today, when people say playing games, it kind of gets a little bit too serious. Then it was a kind of a case of learning things. All right, you're learning how spirit works for you. You're learning what does and doesn't fit for you. You're learning that actually this way of working doesn't quite resonate with you, and that's much further on. Again, to know that this is part of development. Okay, so the development is about knowing yourself. All right, knowing you have to know yourself to know what works and what doesn't work for you. I know it sounds sensible, but you know, I just like to reiterate it. And so if you get to see a self-development class, or you see a development course going on within a church, understand that it may be a case that you are developing yourself in knowing yourself. You are spirit, just as spirit is spirit. Okay, you are also an energy force. Do bear that one in mind. People seem to forget that one, and I did mention that to a whole bunch of very, shall we say, business-like people the other day, and I did say, maybe, you know, our brains are full of energy, and electrical energy. We have thunderstorms because of that electrical energy, and we're drawn to it. Only a theory. What do I know? I know nothing. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. It's me. Right, so sorry, just wanted to pick this up. So with that, if I kept hold of this and then I gave you the crystal ball, then that would be psychometry in my eyes, but you could also scry from it as well. All right, so you could do the mixture of the two. You can go on to do but I was thinking about the images, those very much pre-Raphaelite images, where you get to see this lovely lady standing by a lake. She's overlooking it, and actually the lake is within a cave, and she's one of those ones. Hi Polly, very much one of those ones who is looking into the pool to see what the future will bring. That's scrying. Or that you get the big, huge. I don't know if you ever watched Hercules. Which was the young version of Hercules. Okay, so you had on a Saturday afternoon or something like that. So you had this guy running around, and every so often they would go and see the oracle. The oracle would have this big, huge dish, and the water would be in the ditch. And again, that would be scrying. Okay, sometimes they would actually throw bones out. Now that is a different type of reading, throwing bones out. And in fact, if you listen to Dolly Parton, These Are Bones, I haven't. Only just found you. Hi, Yuzu. Don't worry, you haven't missed too much. I'm just talking about scrying and psychometry and about readings. So, what was I saying? Yeah, so These Are Bones by Dolly Parton. That's my ringtone, by the way. You should listen to the song. It makes me laugh every time. Yeah, why not? About an old witch and what she does. Well, she's claimed to be a witch by the local community because she throws out bones. Yeah, everybody goes to her for a reading, but they throw out the bones. So it's very much along those lines. So again, that's a different type of reading. It's lovely to have you all here this evening. And if you have any questions or if there's anything that you want me to recap, I'm happy to do so as well. So for me, do I use it? Actually, yes, I do. Funnily enough, thinking about it, in my bathroom I have very reflective tiles which are dark blue in colour, and they're not a flat surface, so they're a very rippled surface, but I do look at those from time to time, and I will actually get to see faces, and I will actually get to see things move within them, and it's not always the same face that I get to see in them either. So yeah, so that will also change. So in a way, yes. Do I use scrying? Yes. Do I link in at the same time? Now that's the question. No, I don't. So I allow myself to see the images, but I don't link in at the same time because I don't often have a question to go into it. Can you scry into a ring? Yes, if it's reflective. So if someone's got a beautiful, great big huge diamond, or a cut amethyst, for instance, or a smooth big huge amethyst, this one I would say is not too reflective. This ring here, it's a moonstone, not very reflective. I would want something a bit more reflective and perhaps even darker than that, so like smoky quartz. If that was a smoky quartz, that would be quite, you could perhaps scry into that as well. And the reason why I brought up psychometry is if it is a ring or a piece of jewellery, oh, you bought a scrying mirror. Okay, how do I start? Is obsidian. Okay, obsidian is actually a stone. So stone, and it's one of the oldest ways of having a mirror as well. So that goes all the way back to I think it was this, I'm going to say Stone Age, but actually I want to pull it well, actually no, can I stick with the Stone Age and go a little bit into the Bronze Age with that one as well. So obsidian has been used because it's very smooth, almost like glass, isn't it? Black glass. Am I right in saying that, Sue? If I'm wrong, please correct me. Please do correct me, Sue. Happy to be corrected. But that's my understanding. So what you're going to be doing, so is to actually look into it. So I did try to do just a quick demonstration. So I'm going to hold the crystal ball here, and so this is not such a good example. Okay, actually that might be okay. So maybe I might be able to do it on the computer rather than me looking at the crystal ball in my hand. Might be able to do it either way. I'm going to try to look at it to see if what I get to see. Oh, thank you, Sue. Thank you. What I get to see in the reflection on my computer screen. Okay, so what you're getting to see. So I'm going to take my glasses off because I'm short-sighted. So now I can't see anything that you're typing. I can see that you've typed something. So I'm kind of nice and blurry. So I'm going to just try to hold this nice and straight. And it's looking, I'm looking at the crystal ball, but I'm looking through the crystal ball, if that makes sense. So I'm looking not at my hand on this side, but I'm looking almost going cross-eyed and allowing a soft focus to happen. So I'm finding that a little bit hard on my screen because I'm getting distracted with everything else. So I'm just going to now bring my focus into the crystal ball that I'm actually holding, and I'm looking at the ball that I'm holding and not on the screen. Okay, and then that's what I'm doing. I'm just having a look into that and see what I can see. Now I'm going to move myself around because I want to see if it's my head that's moving. Okay, so I can see a reflection of myself upright, and I can see two reflections of myself upright, but there's also a third face in between my two faces that I can see. So that's why I'm moving around slightly, just to see, to eliminate my own kind of reflections and things like that, to see what I can see beyond that. Okay, so I can see okay, so my background is changing while I'm looking at this, Sue. Hopefully, and alright, so I'm being shown pictures on a wall now. I know that there's a picture behind me, but that wasn't there earlier, it was just my face. So the second image of my face that I could see earlier has now gone. And it is a case of trying not to blink, because if you do blink you can lose the image, and it is just staying that little bit focused. So I'm just going to stop there. Do you do readings for people using a scrying mirror or ball? No, Emily, I don't actually. No, to be honest. For me, scrying is for me, I was always taught that it was about the future, which is absolutely fine. I know people who do fortune telling, and they will use a crystal ball. I don't know. I just never have done. Other than that, so I've never really practiced with a crystal ball. To be honest, I've never kind of sat down and used it with people. So hopefully that answers your question there, Emily. Anybody else got any questions for me? We know this is one of the oldest ways of scrying, is either using mirrors. So I hope, Sue, that you'll have fun with the obsidian mirror. You have to tell me how you get on with it, Sue, please do. And where did you get one from? And was it really big? Is it a really big mirror? Is it kind of like about that size, about face size? What I would say though is try, if you are using it, most people when they're scrying into a mirror, they'll either have candlelight around them, so it's soft lighting, not harsh lighting that I've got in here. It's quite hard lighting in here, but they will use soft lighting, and they will tend to have the room in a yes, you will need to set an intention. If you think about the oracles of old, okay, us ladies of many centuries ago in Grecian times and Roman times, if you think about it, often you would have somebody going there and asking a question, so that would be the intention. So yes, I would have an intention in mind for that, and hence why it's seen more as fortune telling. Okay, hopefully that answers that one. But yes, if you have, I would also have it, Sue, in a kind of like a much very soft lighting if you can. So set out some candles in the room. Please be aware, fire, etc. Be safe when using candles. I can hear a fireman kind of going, don't let them use too many. But yes, basically place your candles onto a fireproof surface and have your candles lit, or if you can, have soft lighting electricity wise. Save the firemen's. But yeah, so that you can do it that way as well. All right. Any other questions? Was it, Sue, I've got a question for you. Is it kind of quite a large mirror though? Is it a large one? Square, oval? In my head I'm seeing it much more of the old-fashioned, here's a handle sized mirror. You know, there's hand mirrors that you used to get, and if you have got that, then please be aware, the longer that you're holding it as well, you are holding it, okay, so that will also don't tense up your arm, is basically what I'm saying, because that will get painful after a while, and you'll find that your arm will get tired after 2 minutes or so of holding the mirror. So you may want to actually perch it. If it's got a handle to it, find a way of securing it, locking it off into a vise or some books or something like that, where you can look at the mirror with your hands free, so that you're nice and relaxed. The last thing I would say with scrying and things like that is to be tense, because that's not really what you want. Okay, right. So hopefully that answers your question there, Sue. And do I have any other questions? Anything else that you would like to know? It's quite interesting. I didn't know you could still get an obsidian mirror. That was fabulous. Absolutely. But obsidian is very it is very much like glass. Okay, it's about 4 inches diameter, something like that. It's big enough. You know, it's kind of, it's a good palm. I mean, if you wanted to, you could hold it in your palm and do it, or you could, you know, have it, still prop it up if you wanted to, set it up on some books or something like that. But I would be in a relaxed state while doing it, so be comfortable. Don't sit in an awkward position. So this stool that I'm sitting in is very uncomfortable, so find a nice comfy chair that you know you're going to be comfortable in, and just don't worry if nothing happens straight away. All right, so I'm just amazed that I could see anything, because I haven't done this for ages and ages and years, so especially into a crystal ball or anything, but you know, just like, if anything, I do more dowsing than I do crystal balls, but allow that time. Okay, don't be too hard on yourself. It is about practicing. I have a small stand for it. That's great, Sue. That's really good news, because that having a small stand for it will just, you know, you can kind of be nice and relaxed. And again, it's go with the first thing that you think of. Okay, so the demonstration that I did earlier, and I don't know if anybody was watching or anything, but when you can rewind this, you'll be able to look at it. I did see a young male, 20s to 30s. He had that kind of cut stubble, beardy look. So it's like, I'm growing a beard and I'm going to slightly shave it. It's that kind of a look, and I have to say that he's a darker skin tone than myself, quite young, full head of hair. And then I got to see somebody else, quite chiseled features, and then I got to see somebody else with much more of a rounder face as well. And it was all to do about distancing. Distance does not matter. It's not about distance. So that may answer somebody's question. I don't know who. This is why I don't do readings on here at all, because this is a live session. Alright, so in doing a live session, my intention is to tell you about scrying. It's not about giving you messages, because if I did, I may be linking up with X, Y and Z from around the world, and as it's alive, I don't know who's coming in and out. Okay, so just to recap for those who do ask me, oh, am I going to do readings on here? No, that's the reason why I don't do readings. This is much more informative rather than anything else, and it's a chance for you to ask a medium any questions that you have as well. So any other questions from anybody? Hopefully I've kind of covered that. So, you know, if you're wanting to have a good go at the psychometry or at scrying, think of it as, especially with cards, we've always talked with the cards, that's holding a black piece of card in between the hands, which when people did try it, they were quite amazed that you can kind of get to see things on there. I tended to get to see faces. I get to see a lot of faces whenever I'm doing anything like this, and even when I'm looking into the crystal ball, or when I'm looking into bathroom tiles, I'm always seeing faces, so it's good fun. For me, I see it as fun because it's me learning. It's my process of learning. All right, so sometimes it's a game, and we have to remember in days, well, it's about science. We don't know, we don't have all of the answers, so sometimes it will work and sometimes it will not. But Sue, please keep on persevering until you get to that point of saying, do you know what, this is really not working. Okay, and the other thing I would say with starting off, don't try for too long, because you will tire yourself out. And it's not about trying either, it's about not trying. Okay, I know it sounds completely backwards, but it's about relaxing. It's about allowing your mind just to be free and just seeing what you get to see, and allowing yourself to see what you see, and don't overthink it either. Okay, so that's the other thing I would give you. And that's also a top tip for reading. If you're doing any readings for anybody, as soon as you start thinking into that reading, you've lost that connection. Whether you're doing psychometry, scrying, card reading, or you're doing a ribbon reading, for instance. That's another way of doing psychometry, doing ribbons, colours, doing books, music. I've seen people using film as an example. I've heard people using songs. I've seen demonstrations of people linking in through songs and stuff, and we'll give people songs. In fact, I do that. That will come across in some of my readings, that it will be part of a lyric of a song. Sometimes they can make me sing. God bless those who are in the audience, in the congregation at the time. But yeah, so it can be many things that they can give as that link in. But again, it's saying what comes to your mind first of all. Trust your instincts, okay, Sue, and going with it. All right, so don't be too hard on yourself. Do give it a go. And also, the other thing I would say is, especially if you're starting off, is to write things down. And it's and I'm going to say this, it sounds so easy to write it down. It's sometimes not, especially when you're in that zone. So you may want to have a dictaphone or a way of recording it, your voice recording, and actually doing it that way as well. Now, the other thing that for me, I tend now on, when I'm linking in via Zoom, or I'm doing a service on Zoom or things like that, I now look behind the person. So I'm not looking directly at the person, I'm looking behind them, and I will get to see people's faces. But that's not really scrying, if you like. That's actually me linking in. Okay, so if you've got any other questions, anything else, because otherwise I know I've gone on for a little bit longer and I'm a little bit later than normal as well. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of how to start off, Sue. Be relaxed, have soft lighting, go with what you're getting to see. You may actually, or if you do have harder lighting, make sure you're not getting reflections on there. So what you're getting to see, you can trust what you're seeing. Okay, so trust what it is that you're seeing as well. You can actually use glass as well, if you think of, because that's reflective, as in, you know, when you're in when you're looking at windows, sometimes they can also be reflective, especially in older buildings, older glass as well, so that you could use that as well. I'm just trying to think what else is reflective. I know anything that's kind of, I suppose, polished or shiny, anything like that really you can use to help you. Lovely. So that was mine. Just, it's a quick Facebook Live really, just to talk about scrying, and I may talk about psychometry again, because I do like psychometry, and I do like actually doing photo psychometry. So that's where people they lay out photographs and you turn them up the other way and you get to see them. Now, the first time I did any of this was at Stansted, and if you've not been to Stansted is a hall in Stansted, once owned by Conan Doyle, and he gifted it to this psychological research, and today it's used mostly for classes. You can stay there for a week or however long the classes are. It is not cheap. Residential courses, they do a lot of residential. In fact, I think that's all that they do there now. They have also got a tiny little museum, and I mean tiny little museum. It's a kind of a case of 2 people in there. That's as many people as you can get in there, because there's so many bits to look at and cases of this, that and the other, some of it which they say this is fake evidence and some of which they say this is true evidence. So it's quite interesting to have a look at that. But I did a course and just to see where I was, and again I was just starting out, so I didn't know anything apart from I was told I knew everything, but I didn't. Quite bizarre. But yeah, so literally a tray was brought in, there was stuff covered, there was some stuff that wasn't covered, but there was stuff covered in plastic bags and things like that, and it was just great fun, just linking, you know, just kind of saying, oh okay, that's a book photo frame, you know, those ones where they're kind of like a leather book and you take them for traveling, and I said that's what's in that bag there. It's not a book, it's actually a photo frame, it's a double photo framed, and that there is a box, and that was in a kitchen drawer. And you kind of, when you start looking at the items, you hear the story. At least that's how it worked for me. I heard the story of where these items belonged, and not necessarily who they belonged to, but more of a case of where they belonged and what their purpose was and what was around them as well. So I do remember that, and I thought, gosh, this is a great game, this is lovely. And then as soon as I started thinking that, I went, oh God, I wonder if I'm right. And then so for my confidence being up here, I'll just give what I get, and it suddenly just dropped. And that's what I mean, as soon as you start thinking, your whole energy will drop, and then that's when you start to unlink with things as well. So that's why we mediums, we tend to have to give you what we get, and as soon as we start thinking it, we lose that energy. So we have to give you what it is. The only times that I would say that we do think is sometimes the wording that comes out is either something that we don't understand. This is for me, I'm talking about for me, not for anybody else. It's either that I don't hear it clearly, so I'm asking for it again, I can't pronounce it, or that it's a swear word. And if it's a public demonstration, I will not swear. Okay, I will say I can't say that, it's inappropriate. If it's inappropriate language, I won't say it. So again, that's when I'll recap on that with spirit. But that's after scrying or after the psychometry. Okay, so that is at that point I've linked in. So this is the first part. This is the psychic side of things. Okay, I'm talking once I've gone into that psychic end, hence the energy of this is doing X, Y and Z, and this is what I'm getting to see and all the rest of it. That is the here and now, or perhaps the future. Okay, the here and now and the future. The past is about the mediumship, and the mediumship from there, they will give the message of how to help you, how they're guiding you, how they are around you at the moment. Okay, it's two very different things. However, they can interlink and cross over within a message at the start, at the end, and in the middle. Okay, so they do cross over. So I won't say that I'm not a psychic. I will say that I can be a psychic, but I can also be a medium. Okay, because of the mediumship will kick in. Alright, so I can start off being a psychic and I say, yeah, okay, but I will link in onto the mediumship side, and vice versa. That sometimes happens with the mediumship. Okay, so hopefully that's a little bit more information than you perhaps wanted this evening as well. So yes, that's what we get from scrying as well. So I hope you all have a lovely Saturday evening, and I think it actually stopped raining for once here, because it's just been raining all day today. It's been miserable and cold. So have a lovely weekend, all of you. I'm going to log out if there's no other questions for me. Thank you for your interaction and for your questions. Sue, have a great time with your obsidian mirror, and I hope it works out really well. Please let me know, send me a message, inbox me, message me and just tell me how you're getting on. That would be fab. I have to say that I haven't looked out for an obsidian mirror. Maybe I should, I don't know. But yes, if you think there's something that I should have a go at, I'm more than welcome to have a go at it. If there's anything that you would like a Facebook Live on, please again send me a message. I've also left in the message my website address, so if you want to have thank you, if you want to see other things that I do, if you want to have a look at the perception cards that I've got on there and things like that, please do have a look. Again, that's almost like scrying actually with those. You could almost scry with those, but I'd say it's more on the psychic level. But yeah, so please do have a look. Please message me, Facebook me, you can Instagram me, you can, gosh, what else can you do? Twitter me. Not that I look at Twitter all that much, I must confess. YouTube, I've got some, this will go on to YouTube website as well. You've got my website, you've got emails, the whole gamut. There's no excuse of not to be able to contact me if you can't find a way. Alright, so I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks' time. I will be talking about terminology, I think, next time. So the terminology that we all tend to use as mediums, and I know when I started off I was like, what are they talking about? What's passing over? Is that somebody fainting? It's not. That means that they've died. Okay, so I am going to be using quite harsh words. I find using they're dead quite harsh now for me. Passing over sounds so lovely. Or they've passed on as well, that's another one. Or they've moved on is another one. You see, you get all of these terminologies. So if you have any terminology that you're really kind of, you've heard that is kind of like, what were they on about? Again, please contact me. I look forward to seeing you on the first Saturday of September. So I'm just going to have a look in my diary. So that should be, yep, that's on the 4th. Okay. Yep, that's on the 4th of September. And that I will be here again at 5 o'clock. So any questions, come on through. I look forward to seeing you then. Take care and have a lovely weekend. See you all later. Bye.